How y'all doing, peoples? How y'all doing? This morning, I want to give y'all Bible scripture today at this point. And it's talking about David, chapter 22 and whatnot. And it talks about this, David and Saul. In verse 22, it says, his father's house heard it, they went down, titheth to him, and everyone that was in distress, and everyone that was in debt, and everyone that was discounted, gathered themselves unto him, and he became to capture over them. And there were with him and 400 men. And David went thence to Mesheth of Moab, and he said unto the king of Moab, let my father and my mother, I pray thee, come forth and be with you. Still I know that God will be with me. So I like the scripture, and I'm thinking to myself that they're talking about tithing, okay? We all know that God made this up, saying that we got to give 10% to him, is because, for the simple fact is, if you don't know what tithing is, well, today you're going to know what tithing is. Tithing is that you got to give 10% to God. Don't matter what it is, you got to give 10%, okay? You could keep most of your money at the time, but you got, and I be hearing that people out there be doing all kinds of Hulu, Netflix, and stuff like that. And we honor God, because if we love God, right, we got to give him his 10%. How can you go out there and want to spend all your money and not give God his 10%? We all say that we love God, right? So we should be able to give him his 10% and be able to keep the rest. Because you want to be blessed and be able to keep what you have, right? So we got to honor and give God his 10% at this time. And it says it right here in verse 2. Distress and everyone that was in debt. How would you be able to pay the bills? You get what I'm saying? We got to be able to give God his 10% so we'll be able to have these things. You can spend your money any kind of way you want to, but if you say that you love God, how would you got to give him his 10%. Tithing, that's what it's about. You understand? And knowing that you got to you got to be able to give that to him, because if you give that to him, he'll be able to give you more than you expect. Just don't go out there and spend all your money on any old thing. You understand? Because it's not worthy to do that. You get what I'm saying? And to be totally understandable, God is the only thing that would give you everything back. I know at times that you might slip up sometimes, but you got to be able to know what you're giving out when you're giving in. Once you give in, you got to know what you're giving out. You can't give in if you don't know what you're giving out. God always said give him his 10%. Don't matter if it's $20. You would give him $10 each and every day. You get what I'm saying? It don't have to be in singles, it can always be in bills. But you got to know what you're giving out, okay? If God said give you 300, give him exactly 10% of that 300, okay? If you have $50, give God 10% of that $50. It's all within tithing. That's all it is. That's all God's telling you. You got to be able to give God what he asks of you. Don't give him less. Because if you give him less, he's going to give you less. You got to give God what he asks first. If you love God, you got to give it to him. You got to give him his 10% first. First of all of everything. Okay? And I like this verse where it says, everyone that was in debt and everyone that was disconsolate, gathered themselves unto him and become a captain over them, and there was with him about 400 men. Right? We don't know what these men was be able to do. Tithing is the best thing. Because you could ask God for any old thing. You understand? You got to give what God always asks of you. Okay? You got to be able to give God what he asks of you. Because if you don't, how would you know what he asks of you? Okay? And it's best to do that. Tithing is one of the best things that you could ever do with God. He's only asking you to give him what he wants from you. You understand? I'm going to go to chapter 27, verse 30. Okay? Verse 30, it says, and all the tithe of the land, whether of the seed of the land, of all the fruit of the tree, is the Lord's, and the holy unto the Lord. Okay? Now, we sitting here and we talking about tithing, right? We got to be able to give God what he asked of us. Okay? And also in this verse, it talks about tithing. Tithing is, you got to give God 10%. And concerning that, the tithing of the herd of the flock, even of their whatsoever passeth under the road of the 10 shall be holy unto the Lord. You got to be able to give 10%. 10%. Not 9, 10. 10 shall be able, you should be able to give 10. The 10% of what God is asking. 10%. Okay? All I'm saying to you is, if you love God that much, you got to give God his 10%. And we talking out of this verse, out of Leviticus 27, chapter 27, verse 30. Right? We got to be able to give God his 10%. Because in what shape or form would you be able to do that if you can't give God his 10%? You got to be able to give him his 10%. 10% always. And knowing what you're giving out. If it's 300, give 10% of that 300. 200, give him 10% of that 200. You understand? It's best. Because if you do that, you will be happy for the rest of your life. You always want to spend whatever you want. But y'all people always want to spend Hulu, Netflix, eBay. You get what I'm saying? Groceries and stuff like that. And it's alright to do that. You get what I'm saying? But give God his 10%. That's all he's asking of you. 10% estimation. You understand? Estimation. Give him his 10%. Okay, that's all he's asking of you. 10%. Nothing else. It's not even if it's got to be $1. Give him his 10%. That's all. That's what he's waiting. That's what he's looking for. His 10%. That's all he's asking of you. You can do whatever you have to do with that, but at the end of the day, give him his 10%. That's all he's asking of you. Because according to the Bible, all the tithe of the land, whether the seed of the land, of the fruit of the tree is the Lord's, and it's the holy unto the Lord. Anything that you give to God, he's only asked of you to give him his 10%. That's all he's asked of you, nothing else. But don't sit here and play with God. You understand? Don't play with him. Because God is not here to be playing with. You understand? He's only asked of you to give him his 10%. That's what he's asked of you. Nothing else. Nothing else. And it's best to do that. To give him his 10%. Whatever he's asked of you, give him his 10%. He's not asking you for nothing else. You can do whatever you want to do with that money. You understand? But estimation, thou estimate. Give him 10% of what you have. 10% of what he asked. Estimate. Let's talk about it. Give him 10% of what you have. That's what he's asking you. 10. Nothing else. Just $10. Estimate. Estimate $20 from 10. What you get? Yeah. Estimate it. 20 from 10. I get it. It leads you to 5, right? But he's only asking you to give him 10. That's what he's asking. Nothing else. Now we sitting here and we talking about tithing, y'all. Tithing is the best thing. And knowing that what you'll be able to ask him for, give him what he asked of you. Because it's right here in the scriptures, y'all. Estimate. We talking about estimate, y'all. Estimate. Give him what he asked of you. Estimate. Estimate it. That's my word for today. Estimate. I'm highlighting estimate because it's the best words for this sermon that I'm giving y'all today. Estimate. Estimate. You gotta give him what he asked of you. Estimate. Estimate is the best word for this sermon. Give him 10%. Estimation. You know what estimation is? Give him exactly what he asked you. Estimate. Estimate. Give him the amount that he asked you for from out of that 500. Give him 10. Estimate 500 from 10. Give him that. That's what he's asked of you. Estimate it. That's what he asked you for. Okay? Estimate. I see that word estimate in the chapter everywhere I see it. I'm gonna highlight it. Estimate. Estimate is one of the best words in this sermon I'm giving y'all. Estimation. Estimate. Let's give it out. Give him 10% of estimate 500 from 10. From any amount that y'all give him. Estimate it. Give him 10. $10 from out of that 500. And I understand that y'all wanna pay y'all bills. But how would y'all? But y'all wouldn't be able to pay y'all bills if y'all wouldn't just give God what he asked y'all for. Right? Y'all gotta give him $10 every time. Work on it. Do what y'all do best. But estimate it, y'all. Estimate it. I see this word estimated in the chapter. In this chapter. Estimation. Estimation is the key. For each and every one of y'all out there. Estimate. That's the best part of the sermon. Estimation. I'm going to keep highlighting it. I see that word. Estimation. Estimation. According. That word. I like that word. Estimation. Yo. Estimation means give him exactly what he asked you for. If it's 10%, give him 10. That's all he asked. That word estimation is a good word to be asking for, yo. That estimation. From out of the sermon, from chapter 27 to verse 30, estimation is the word. Estimation is the word, y'all. Estimation is the word, y'all. Estimation is the word, y'all. Give him 10% of that 500. You understand? Estimation is the word, y'all. Y'all understand me? Estimation is the word, y'all. Estimation, y'all, is the word I'm looking for. Give him 10% of y'all of what he asked. This word estimation means give him half of what y'all have. Give him 10% of what y'all have. Estimation is the key. Y'all gotta be able to get what y'all get. You gotta be able to give him what he asked y'all for. Estimation, y'all. Estimation, y'all. If y'all don't know, y'all know that word now. Estimation. It means give him half of what you got. I ain't working on no other word but estimation, y'all. That word estimation means give him half of what y'all got. That's all he's asked of you. Estimation is the key. If y'all can't do that, I don't know what to tell y'all. This is what Pastor was telling me. I saw that word estimation everywhere I go. I see it. Don't think just because I have not been reading the Bible or not knowing what the Bible be telling me, I know what estimation is. Estimation is give him half of what y'all got. Just give him half. $10, that's what he asked. $10. That's not bad. I ain't make this up. Pastor ain't make this up. God made this up. Give him 10% of what y'all have. We talking about tithing today, y'all. Give him half of what y'all got. That's all to it. Give him half. Because if y'all do that, y'all good. I like when it talks about tithing. I ain't giving God half of nothing. I gave him all. Because this is what I prayed for. This is what I asked for. Now, if I ever have $10, I'll give him all of it, because God is who he is to me. He gave me everything I asked him for. You understand? And it's best to do that. Estimation is the key. If y'all don't know, now y'all know what estimation is. Give him half. That's what he asked. Give him half of what he asked you. Half. Not less. Not more. In the middle. Give him half. Because that's all he asked for y'all to do, is to give him half. Estimation is the key. I'll see y'all later. I'll talk to y'all later about this and everything. Peace.